The Politics program is brought to you as always by patreon.com/JURY. Support this show, and if you do it for $3 an episode, that is once a week, not only do you get this show, you get my other one, Mike Show Jury, but you get 2 additional politics podcasts, one on Monday and one on Friday. They are headline podcasts, usually last about 12 to 25 minutes. And they are super fun. If you like this show, you're going to like those, and you're going to be able to keep up with my takes on everything that happens between Wednesdays. So head on over there, patreon.com/JURY. But enough of talking about how we support the show. Oh, what do you say we just do the damn thing?
Politics, 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 politics. Yes. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, baby, baby, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an episode where I don't know what to talk about. I mean, like last week we had like Roy Moore. We had like all this stuff. Now we have a tax vote. No, I know. Listen, the tax vote's a big thing. It is official. It is being sent to Donald J. Trump's desk. The House has voted on it. There was a regulatory, or no, not regulatory, a technical issue that they had to deal with to make sure that the Senate voted on it, the House voted on it once, the House had to vote on it again because of some like technical issues. It's done. It's done now. It's very unpopular. Hilariously unpopular. Not a lot of people like it, and the Democrats have effectively branded it as an absolute gift to the rich. There is no doubt that this is a bill that is focused more on top-line corporate tax rate. If you are of a certain economic mindset, the point of that is if you have a lower tax rate, the companies can keep more cash here in America and therefore can be more fluid in their investment and their job growth and creation. This is indeed a tax cut that people will see in 2018 for their taxes. I did my little tax calculator before we went on the show. Everybody, you can watch our pre-show as you can me streaming pretty much every single day at twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. And I will take home 2.8% more of my joint filing with my wife this year, which is good. That slowly decreases to the point where I would be losing more money in 10 years. But something tells me that we are not going to go a decade with nobody doing anything else when it comes to the tax rate or exemptions. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But what's my take? What is my take on this bill? Is it good? Is it bad? Does it make your mother sad? Should you put it in a bag? Wipe it up with a rag? Is it something for my friend Chad? Twitch.tv/OMGChad. I'm running out of rhymes. All right. Yeah. E-girl daddy in the chat. This guy's got bars. What are we? Okay, here's the political reality of it. IMO. Number one, if the economy's good and people notice next year that they are paying less in taxes, people are loath to give up money that they have, which is why the Democrats have effectively pointed more to the fact that a lot of these things expire and are not permanent. However, it really is this. I don't know exactly how much this is going to be a poison pill for the Republicans in 2018. I do know that the economy now has to be humming through the midterms and through the general for this to be a net positive for the current administration. Because at this point, you are running out of effective excuses for why the other guys are screwing things up. It's just that simple. And by the way, I know that Donald Trump's got an approval rating in like the 30s. Not a lot of people like him. We are seeing signs all over the place that in 2018, which it will turn in but a few short days, that we are indeed on a wave watch. That indeed we might be seeing the signs of a Democratic surge. Might we even call it a However, if the economy is humming in 2020, Donald Trump is going to have an inside track. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. If he can point back to this vote, and I know, don't at me with this, the economy is more complicated than the president. If you look at the president, there's only so much a president can do to control the economy. There are many other factors, including business, societal norms, the international marketplace, and Kevin Bacon. I know about that. Politically, if we have 4 years of economic growth under Donald Trump, it's going to be hard. And this vote will be something that he can concretely say, look, I worked with the Republican Congress. We got this done, and now we have economic prosperity. BC Smith 007 in our chat room says, well, tell that to George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush ran into the same problem that, a more effective problem than people have faced, which is nobody likes 16 unbroken years of one party's rule. In general, we're fair like that as an American voting populace. We're loath to give one party 12 years. 16? Not so much. But one re-election, that's a different story altogether. And that's what Donald Trump will be facing in 2020. The economy will be the biggest issue that will determine whether or not he is going to win re-election. And this will be a sign to say, look at what I did to the economy. Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Oh, shit, this isn't even on my list, but we got to fucking talk about this. We got to talk. I can't be fucking leave. You must be joking that I did not have this. I am so pissed off. I am so lucky I don't have a producer, because I would be yelling at my producer that this is not on my run sheet. Okay? Because I got a lot of shit here. Folks, I got stuff on Mike Allen from Axios' take on Donald Trump's 1-year report card. We got a looming government shutdown. I actually did original reporting on a government shutdown We have a speculation the GOP might be ready to cut ties with Donald Trump after the tax cuts. Nothing is nearly as important as me talking about one of my favorite things in the world. I love it so much. That is, of course, the brand new edition. If you are unaware, if you have not, I know we got a lot of international listeners. There's a place in America called Disneyland. At Disneyland, or Disney World, rather, they have an attraction called the Hall of Presidents. It was designed so Disney could show off a field of amusement that they had an advantage in. It is called Animatronics. So if you've never been, it's this nice auditorium. You get to go, sit down. It's very hot in Orlando, where Disney World is. So this is a great way to just get out of the heat. You watch a retelling of history narrated by Morgan Freeman in the most current incarnation. And it talks about the trials and tribulations of the presidents of the United States. Then what happens is something special. All 45 presidents, or 44 presidents, because Grover Cleveland was president twice, stand up and say their name. At the end, the current president gives a little speech. The Hall of Presidents has been closed for an extended amount of time because Donald Trump's animatronic was not ready. Well, for the first time, Walt Disney World has released what Donald Trump's
Ladies and gentlemen,
animatronic looks like.
of the United States.
So what we are watching right now is what you would see from the auditorium. And oh my God, here is the fucking nightmare that is Donald Trump's face.
To the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Okay, I need to get a close-up here. I need to get a close-up. You guys need to see what this dude's face straight looks like. Oh my God, we have to zoom in. We have to zoom in. Folks, you can see this anywhere on the internet if you're listening on audio. It doesn't look as... Oh, God. Somebody needs to get me an HD. And by the way, this is not the first time that they have made a horrifying rendition of one of the presidents. The Obama one looks like shit. The George H.W. Bush one looks like shit. It's just the fact that this version of Donald Trump looks like if Hillary Clinton birthed John Voight at his current age. It's amazing. It is an amazing look. I have no idea how Donald Trump, who was a bit of a vain man himself, how he has reacted to his version, his presidential animatronic looking like garbage. JVZ in the chat saying it looks like his lower cheeks are trying to run away from his face. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. This is it. This is the picture. This is the picture. And I am so sorry to the audio listeners. I know that this is not playing for you guys in the way that it is playing for the rest of us here who are watching live on twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. But look at that. Look at that. He looks like the scariest lunch lady you've ever seen. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Just look. Who is this? Is this Franklin Pierce in the background? Franklin Pierce is looking at him like, what the fuck is going on? I don't even know who this is over his left shoulder, but he's just saying, like, just don't make eye contact. Just don't make eye contact. Just don't make eye contact. The one thing that you can say about the Donald Trump animatronic for the Hall of Presidents is that it does have his motions down. Disney is still the best. They are the GOAT when it comes to animatronics. Like, they've got his swinging sort of arms down to a science. Taz the man, it looks like a Goosebumps cover. Somebody please get us a mock-up of this as, it's Andrew Johnson in the background. We need that face on a Goosebumps cover. That would be the fucking best. We got to organize a trip. We got to organize a pilgrimage. All of us. Folks, we're all getting together. We're all going to get together, and we are going to we're going to go see this. A lot of people are saying that it looks like they just took the Hillary Clinton animatronic and put a different wig on it. Although that kind of makes you think, did Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton look alike? Question. If their animatronics looked alike, or a crappy Donald Trump animatronic looks so much like Hillary that people are like putting side-by-side pictures, then like by proxy, they had to kind of look alike, right? Just a little bit. Scout Captain saying maybe all old people look the same. That's ageist. But it might not be wrong. All right. Let's get into more fun stuff. I like this episode. This has been a fun episode so far. Well, all this serious stuff. Marco Rubio wants a child tax credit. The Democrats are unhappy about the tax bill. I get it. Man, I understand. Everybody's upset about it. But, like, what are you going to do? Win the elections. Like, come on. All right, how about this one? This is a good one. Here, actually, this is something that I do want to point out. You know, there was a lot of stuff going on during the net neutrality argument last week, where a lot of people were pulling up the lobbying records of how much each person in Congress took from telcos. And they were saying, like, whenever any politician would tweet, they'd be like, you took $7,000. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. Now, let's understand that the FCC is an unelected body that is appointed by the party in power, right? Let's understand that there is certainly an ideological sense that runs through that, but that what we had with net neutrality was Title II enforcement, which I think even diehard net neutrality folks would say, although you like the protections, we could probably do better legislatively than to apply rules made for decades-old tech for what is very obviously something substantially different. But it always kind of tickles me. Gives me a little old tickle. When people get on the lobbying thing. Now, you guys know, and for anybody who's never listened to this show, never watched this show before, I have a very, very strong opinion that politicians are metaphorical lizard people. Now, if you bring me the right evidence, I might be able to upgrade to literal lizard people. But right now, I'm going to be a metaphorical lizard people. I believe that they are going to do exactly what enriches them the most, and that the biggest way to enrich them the most is to cling to power. So they will only enrich themselves so far, the ones that get to federal levels, and they've done this a couple times, they will only enrich themselves so far up until the point where it jeopardizes their phony baloney job. So JSC315 asks, what kind of lizard? I would imagine something that looks kind of like a Gila monster in a suit. But I digress. Metaphorically, I think that they're a metaphorical Gila monster in a suit. Or pantsuit. But I always think that we give too much credit if we, because we are pattern recognizing creatures as humans. So we see money comes in, opinion, and we automatically connect those dots. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that there's a lot of reasons why people make these decisions, politicians. For me, paramount is, does this allow me to keep my job? Do my constituents care about it? Secondly, can I make money? But what if there's other elements? What if there are other vectors for which politicians make these decisions? Well, friends, allow me to point you to Florida State Senator Jack Latvala. Jack Latvala is being pressured to resign by the Senate Rules Committee because he has been found guilty of public corruption. Part of the way that he was he was determining how he was going to vote for things was dealing with lobbyists. Aha! Gotcha. Told you it was lobbyists. Told you it was lobbyists, jury. Jury, these lobbyists are cutting them checks, and these puppets, they're dancing for them, pulling their strings like marionettes. It might not have been about the money. Might not have been about the money. This was a testimony about Senator Latvala. A lobbyist testified that when Latvala became engaged to his current wife, she thought the sexual nature of their relationship would stop. It did not. Miss Redacted testified that between 2015 and 2017, Senator Latvala touched and groped her in an unwelcome manner every time she went to his office, and that she believed tolerating such behavior was part of her job as a lobbyist. If she went to his office in the Capitol and the door closed, she pretty much was always touched. A lesson, yet again, friends, that nothing good happens in Tallahassee. She recalled how Latvala, quote, placed his hands up her dress, touched the outside of her underwear and her vaginal area, her buttocks, and her breasts. She testified that he expressly intimated on multiple occasions that if she engaged in sexual acts or allowed him to touch her body in a sexual manner, he would support particular legislative items for which she was lobbying. I am not saying that senators, state, federal, and everywhere in between, I don't know what would be in between, strike that from the record, that they are stroked by lobbyists, that they are groomed by lobbyists, that they are paid by lobbyists. But I think that these people are not the smartest. I think that these people are self-preservation animals. They are self-preservation creatures, but they've got needs too. And apparently those needs extend to trying to fuck a lobbyist for the future of Florida. Why did you vote for this, Senator? It seems to be unpopular with your constituency. Yes, he says to the people of Clearwater, but also, I smashed. Wait, it doesn't make any sense. Why'd you vote? I smashed. Oh, okay. Cool. But what about, was that, yup, smashed there too. Okay, but when you were looking at the federal omnibus, oh yeah, smash, and smash. Yeah, smash that one. Cool. All right, awesome. Who wants a cigarette? All right, I guess we'll talk about something. I don't know. How much, answer me this question. How much do we have to talk about the Mueller investigation if there's nothing to talk about? How much do we have to talk about the Mueller investigation if there's not a lot to go over? Because I was reading this article. I mean, I know that the Mueller investigation is probably the biggest story in D.C. Obviously, it will possibly imperil the president. But, like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this story. This is from the Washington Post. Here's the headline. Trump's team meeting with Mueller's office poised to ratchet up tensions. This is from 2 days ago. I'm just going to read you the lead and the nut graph here. White House lawyers are expected to meet with Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller's office late this week, seeking good news that his sprawling investigations focus on President Trump will soon end and their client will be cleared. But people familiar with the probes said that such assurances are unlikely and that the meeting could trigger a new, more contentious phase between the special counsel and a frustrated president. People with knowledge of the investigation said it could last another year, pointing to ongoing cooperations from witnesses such as former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, as well as a possible trial of 2 former Trump campaign officials. So, like, what we're saying is that they're going to have a meeting and people may or may not like what they have to say. Like, at what point is this not news? Like, I'm not saying forever. I'm just saying now, right? Also, this is far more important. We now have our R.L. Stine cover. Are there any Goosebumps fans in the house? It is I, R.L. Stine. Check out my latest tome, R.L. Stine's Goosebumps, Night of the Living Dummy by Scholastic. Who fucking did this? Who gets credit? Who gets credit? I'll put this up on my Twitter. Justin R. Young on Twitter. That's BioCow. Oh my God. Amazing work by BioCow. Amazing work. Look, again, I'm not saying the Mueller investigation isn't news. I'm just saying, like, the TikTok. What is the lowest threshold for possible news? Is it we're going to eventually have a meeting about something that the other side doesn't want to know? I mean, ultimately, well, here, I know why this was run. This is run because the Washington Post has Mueller investigation sources, And the Mueller investigation sources want it out there, they want it leaked, that this is not going away anytime soon, to hit back at the Trump team's intimations that this is going to end, because they want to give themselves public runway. So the narrative isn't, oh my God, this is going on so long. This was supposed to end at the end of last year. Dr. Stratego in the chat says the lowest threshold for politics news is the Hall of Presidents. I disagree. Oh my God. Now we are just getting a flood of Goosebumps covers. I will run all these. All of these will be on my Twitter. They will all be there. All right, let's get into some original reporting, folks. I reported stuff originally. For those of you who are unaware, there was a former version of this reality wherein I used to be a journalist. I used to call people, used to write up stories, used to run them in what used to be colloquially understood as a newspaper. So if you're unaware, this Friday, unless there is congressional intervention, there is set to be a government shutdown, meaning that offices that are funded by the United States government and are not deemed to be, what's the phrase? Necessary. It's another word for necessary. Will be shut down. Sorry, bub, no more cash. So immediately I thought of one of my favorite things that happens on Christmas, which is that NORAD from the Air Force tracks Santa Claus. And so I called NORAD so I could ask them, I could get official comment, official politics comment on whether or not NORAD would still be tracking Santa if there was a government shutdown. And holy shit, did I not get an answer. According to Captain Mark Lazine of NORAD Media Relations, they still plan on tracking Santa on Christmas Eve with or without a government shutdown. Here's the money quote. I don't want to speculate, but the plan now is to go ahead. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We are indeed still going to be tracking Santa Claus on Christmas via NORAD, even if we do a government shutdown. I always I should be emailing all my buddies that won Pulitzers and shit, just being like, hey, you're not the only one who owns this shit, buddy. Santa's still coming to town, and we're going to know where he is, just in case that motherfucker gets any ideas. We know where you are, Chris. We can take you down at any moment. NORAD's on the case. And my kid wants a train. Okay. One more programming note. The Campaign Chaos Book Club will be convening tomorrow morning on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young, to discuss the book Hacks by Donna Brazil. Yes, friends, we will be getting all up into... I, spoiler alert, really like this book, and I am going to very much enjoy talking about it. If you're not familiar, Donna Brazil was the former head of the Al Gore campaign. She became, in rushed and ridiculous circumstances during the Democratic National Convention, the head of the Democratic National Committee, and spoiler alert, she has some less than kind things to say about the Hillary Clinton campaign. So if you want to hear about that, I will be going live probably around 10 o'clock to do the Campaign Chaos Book Club. And then that will go up in the feed. So if you already read it and you want a piece of it, then that's fine. Also, if you want to get your email in, your thoughts on the book, if you also read the book, we already have a few, but not as many. Go ahead and hit me up, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. All right. TV Zegon in the chat says, is the entire book one big hot take? No. There's actually a lot of really, it's kind of my favorite sort of book because, and really it's kind of like the DNA of what I like to model this show after is, I've always loved the books of like political officials when they get real. And I don't think this is her being all the way real because ultimately she still wants jobs. But like the conversations that would happen at bars between rival campaign managers who kind of like each other and want to get drunk, but they are going against each other. Codes from Home asks, does Miss Brazil have a chapter on nostril breathing? Nope. Which is why I got to the end of that and not the Hillary Clinton book. Also, we got to clear this one off the deck because the Corey Lewandowski book is out, and we have got to read that shit. But all right, speaking of nostril breathing, I want everybody to close their eyes. We're going to do some guided meditation. Yes, guided meditation. Close your eyes. I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. But just imagine, if you will, you are in your childhood home, yes. You are in a place for which you feel safe. You are in a place for which you feel secure. You are smelling all the smells that come along with the Christmas season, maybe the ham in the oven, maybe some snickerdoodles or ginger snaps. You look over and you see the Christmas tree, the pine needles, maybe a little bit lighter in color than they were when you first got the tree earlier in the month. You see the tinsel, you see the garland, you see your old family pet right in front of you. You're smiling now. You feel like you are at home. And then all of a sudden, imagine your front door, the front door to your childhood home, it opens. And now all of a sudden, we have walking in your family. You have not seen your family. You are happy to see your family. But behind them, there's more people. You notice some of them. They're famous people. They are people that are leaders. They are duly elected. They are representatives. They are senators. You realize that the people that have now filed into your house, it seems crazy that they are all there in such small confines, are literally every member of Congress. Now close your eyes. Let your mind go blank. Now you're no longer in your childhood house. Now you are in a car, you're driving, the car stops. You find yourself in front of a building. The building has neon lights. The building has fake gold plating. They are charging an exorbitant amount to valet park. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the midst of a congressional approval rating.
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
dance, 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 dance.
That booty.
Ladies and gentlemen, up on stage, I didn't even know this was possible. It's the entirety of Congress, both sides of Congress. They are all making it clap. They are all swinging on that pole because they are being judged. In a poll taken by The Economist and YouGov between December 17th and December 19th, we have a representative voter sample of 1,291 votes. Coming up first to the stage, with 12% of the vote, we have everybody in Congress that is considered approved of.
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
But your headliner, they're only one off of being nice. It is, with 68% of the vote, the amount of Congress that is disapproved of. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a 56-point spread in favor of disapproved. That's low, man. I'll tell you what, I've seen some low congressional approval ratings, but holy shit, they might get this bad bitch up into single digits if they shut down the government. Woo-wee. Oh, open your eyes. You can go ahead and email us, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Go ahead and get your emails in. I think we have the smartest listeners of any politics podcast. We are not concerned with the trivial. We are concerned. Well, I guess we are concerned with the trivial. But there's a lot of smart people that listen. I am always impressed with you guys. So go ahead and email in if anything that we have talked about has opened your eyes. In fact, if there's any Disney Imagineers that listen to this podcast, please get back at me anonymously so I can talk about this Donald Trump puppet. Ken writes, I believe I follow the news reasonably well, but it wasn't until after Doug Jones won the election that I learned about the significant role he played in prosecuting Klan members. The news paints a picture that African Americans voted for Jones in large numbers simply because they love the Democrats. I have no doubts that the majority of African Americans vote Democrat, seeing them as the better of two evils. But how much do you think Jones's work against the Klan factored in? Why didn't the Democrats play up the Klan fighting angle more in their campaign? Do you think Jones could be a potential presidential candidate, or are the days of the Democrats running a straight white guy behind them for this foreseeable future? Ken, so it's interesting. I am of the school of thought that Doug Jones ran the campaign that he needed to run to get elected. Remember, he got elected by a razor-thin margin when the other guy was an absolute disaster. So, should he have done anything different? No. I don't think he should have done anything different at all whatsoever. He was very good at having a good resume and shutting his mouth and literally just being the guy who wasn't Roy Moore. Now, should Doug Jones run for president? I think that answers yes, but not because he's an especially great candidate. It's two things. Number one, Doug Jones has a national name right now, and who knows whether or not he will continue to have a national name as he matriculates through the Senate. But also, as we said last week, he's not going to hold that seat past 2020. As soon as they run Sassy the Horse in 2020, he's going to lose because he is an aberration and not the norm. And if Judge Roy Moore had not run, I don't believe that Doug Jones would have won. So why not cash in those chips while the iron's hot and run for president? It's a Southern progressive who was very good at not being an awful landing spot for disaffected Republicans who did not like the other guy. And by the way, if you look at the approval ratings, there's a lot of people who don't like the other guy. So, interesting thought, and I agree with half of it. Zach sent us another story. Apparently, The Rock is out there on the Jumanji press tour explaining why he would like to run for president. He says that Johnson would eye a presidential campaign in 2020. Said that would probably be the case, yes. And now USA Today has clickbaited me into not going to where I want. Okay. He says, it started with a piece in the Washington Post, but there was this kind of groundswell. Here's what he said. I can tell you that with all honesty that the consideration comes at the desire of a large amount of people who would like to see this happen. But I mean, honestly, there are so many different variables that come into play when you think about this. Politics is not my business. So the consideration is there, and we'll have to see. I'll continue to watch and learn as much as I can. But the reason why he would run would be to serve the people and create a better environment for them. I mean, look. He is the people's champion. Zach went on to say, I'd vote Rock. I bet the states that swung Republican in 2016 would too. I mean, that would be the question. The Rock has said before that he is a Republican, so be curious to see if he ran as Democrat. A strudel in every pot. And finally, Everick writes, Buenas tardes. I know that you love elections and have branched out into the international scene to slake your thirst for campaign chaos and democratic debauchery. So I thought I'd give you a heads up of the upcoming election here in Mexico, which seems to be right up your alley. I'll keep it brief, but can send you a lot more if you're interested. The bit of news this year is that the Morena party actually has a shot. Imagine if Donald Trump was a communist and started his own party and had a good chance of winning. On top of that, the PAN, which is the Conservative Party, and the PRD, the Socialist parties, just announced that they'll be teaming up this year. Imagine Jeb Bush and Bernie Sanders running together on the Republican ticket. There have been rumblings that the wife of an earlier PAN president would run for PAN, but now she's an independent. So about the same as if Hillary Clinton had run as an independent. Finally, the PRI isn't doing anything noteworthy. I guess there's kind of a John Kasich analogy, and are favored to win as usual. But the fact that they're being favored isn't out of the ordinary. It's actually pretty crazy in a meta sense. This is the exact same party that massacred a bunch of students at the Olympics 40-odd years ago and effectively went to war with their old people. But folks still like them, I guess. ¿Te interesa? Yes. Muy. I would like more Everick. Give us your Mexican the Mexican update, and we will follow it. I love international politics because man, they're crazy. Now I know why people overseas listen to us, because we're kind of kooky ourselves. All right, that about wraps it up. Of course, you can write us in theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, that is theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Big thank you to everybody who dealt with all the Patreon hootenanny over last week. It was a weird situation. There was a lot of fluctuation on the Patreon. that I have for this podcast and jury. So I really, really, really appreciate what you guys have done. And I encourage you, if you are interested, then go ahead and support us with confidence. Patreon.com/JURY. You can also support us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. And yeah, that's that. Hey, happy Hanukkah to everybody who is either wrapping up or wrapped up the Hanukkah holiday. Merry Christmas to everybody who is celebrating that over the weekend, and happy Kwanzaa. This is a community that is very special to me. I believe sincerely that there is a problem that we have in our country. I believe that we are being manipulated deliberately and just for callow dollars into hysteria. And if there is any kind of high-minded ideal I have for a show that very often descends into such silliness, it's that I think that there is a healthy recalibration that we need to have to deal with politics. If you look at how the Russians actually tried to manipulate us in this election, it was by inflaming the already inflamed. Because you don't have to push hard to get hysterical people even further hysterical. And this happened on both sides. I'm not saying that everybody's equal, and I'm not saying that every side is without fault. I'm just saying that a rational view of politics that sometimes understands that you got to slip a little sugar in is something that I'm very glad has found a home with you guys. So I thank you. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to go visit family and friends. People are going to get new iPhones and iPads and devices for which play podcasts. And you, might being known as somebody that listens to podcasts, will be asked, what kind of stuff do you like? And I hope, if you know that person's into politics, that you suggest this one. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of this show over the year. We have another program before we flip this bad bitch to 2018. But until then, I ask you to remember that our music was provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. You can follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. You can download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com. Ladies and gents, some shows talk about politics. Some shows talk about politics. Some shows even talk about politics. But this is the only show that talks about all three. We will see you next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.